today.
Pleasure.
As a survivor, someone who's lived through it, and as someone who now helps people who are going through domestic abuse and have to go to court, how important is this bill?
I can't even begin to describe how important it is that this doesn't get dropped. So many thousands of survivors have contributed to this bill. So much work has gone into it. It absolutely must not get dropped.
And what are the nuts and bolts of it?
There are lots of elements to it, some great and some a little bit unusual, but the great bits must remain. And I think one of the main things is that survivors being cross-examined in court by their perpetrator is absolutely horrific, something that most of us couldn't even begin to comprehend. You know, that's brilliant that that's in the bill. There is a definition of domestic abuse which includes coercive and controlling behaviour, which has not been in there before, which is great because it's sort of improving everybody's understanding of what domestic abuse is. There are just so many good things about it, and it has taken so much work. This has been going on for a good couple of years now, and it's had delay after delay. And to now be in a position where the new Prime Minister hasn't committed, you know, we've heard sort of rumblings of, you know, hopefully we'll continue it or it will look into it. What we just want is very simple, is one sentence: yes, we're definitely committed to continuing this bill. To me, that doesn't seem difficult. I think if the Prime Minister wants to send a strong message to victims that, you know, he cares about them, that he cares about the 2 women a week that are murdered in the UK, then all he needs to do is come out and say, yes, we're going to continue.
So when you're watching the fallout and the twists and turns in Westminster this week, and we're talking about Brexit and the opposition and general election, what you're thinking about, I guess, is very different. I mean, does your heart sink when you think, my goodness, this bill could go?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Obviously, I'm as addicted to the news as everybody is at the moment. It's kind of, you know, just what is going to happen next? What's the next twist or turn? But obviously, for me, my priority is standing up for the victims of domestic abuse. And this bill is something that so many of us have worked so hard to get. You know, it just... Obviously, I'm interested in all the rest of it, but for me and other survivors, this is the most important part about what's going on at the moment, and it just can't slip away. We can't let this chance slip away. Too many victims for too long have felt that we're not being listened to, that, you know, not enough's being done. This was like, oh my God, you know, finally somebody's listening when Theresa May made it her priority. So, you know, it just needs to happen.
It's been called a once-in-a-generation opportunity. That's very much how you're talking about it.
It is.
But also, even now, is this right? 12% of prosecutions fail after a victim changes their mind because it is just too difficult to even take a prosecution further. How do you reduce that percentage?
Speaking as somebody that has been through the criminal justice process as a victim, I can tell you it was one of the most difficult experiences of my life. It was horrendous. I completely understand why a lot of prosecutions fail, and would support any woman that felt she was unable to go through with it. I know how hard it is. You know, we try our best, obviously, to support women if they decide that they want to go through with the criminal prosecution, but it is harder to imagine the stress that it causes you to have to go through that.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Pleasure.
We'll follow and